that. I'm going to do visual scripting the non-programmer way. Okay, I'm not a programmer. I'm an artist and a designer. I have no idea what to do with code. I made a calculator once. It could count to 4. Okay, it was written in Python, you know, and that's it. So that's my skill. But if you give me Unreal Engine 4, I can build a whole game. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to build something live on stage. I only have half an hour. I also have some other things to say, so I pretty much have like 15 minutes to build a game, okay? I'm going to build a simple game in 15 minutes. Then I'm going to highlight, if I have time left, a couple more advanced things just to show you a bit of a, you know, what happens if you take what I've just shown and you go beyond that. And then some general Unreal features, just basically a sales talk for a few minutes. That's it, okay? So, let's see. This thing breathes a lot. It's a lot annoying. Good. So that's my name, by the way. I'm like Dutch, I'm Belgian, I don't know what it is. So no, since I didn't know what it is, I came to Sweden, so I've been living in Sweden for a while. And I work for Epic Games. I've been using Unreal since 16 years, just adding up. Shows the age of the engine as well, and how long we've been doing this. And again, I'm going to build a simple 2D game. I'm going to build a 2D game because it's one of those things that people don't really associate with Unreal. You know, when they think Unreal, they think Gears of War, next-gen, AAA stuff with shooting, and there's blood and there's stuff, okay? Yeah. So I'm going to build a 2D game, just to show that as well. So what I'm going to do is I have a level here. It's a very basic level. You can see it's just basically this. We have a 2D tool set since about half a year, 7, 8 months. What is it? So these are actual sprites. I don't have that much time to go into all details, but you'll see as I'm doing it, I'm going to try to explain what I do, and I guess you'll just get a bit of a feel for it. Before I start, by the way, how many of you have used Unreal Engine 4? So that's like 40-ish%, I don't know, 35? Okay, how many of you are programmers? Yeah, I'm going to offend you. And I'll hopefully make up. Good, so the first thing I need a couple of very simple first steps. And these are rather boring actually, but I simply need to tell the level and the game, you know, use this kind of game type and then use this kind of character. I just need to tell it, you know, set it up, use this specific script, right? So basically I'm just going to do that. For that we have blueprints, and blueprint is all visual scripting. So I'm going to do the whole thing without touching a line of code. So a new blueprint class based on game mode. My names are very artist-like, so they're very bad. Really bad. It speeds it up, so. And I need a second one, so I'm doing this again. New blueprint. This one is, however, based on stick-based characters. So it inherits the parent, right? I'm picking the parent classes. The top few are like a couple of more default, standard classes, and the bottom list is everything else. So I'm picking a specific parent class called stick-based character. Name. Don't take example. I open up this one, and let me open that one as well. Again, it's very boring, just preparing. This is basically the game mode. This controls the game. You know, what are the rules of the game? What kind of player? What kind of input? Everything kind of comes from there. And here I simply said, please use my character. The second one I made is a character, the player. That's all I've done. And then I will simply tell the level, you know, please use this game mode. That's it. Okay, I just prepared. Good. Let's play the game. It doesn't really work, so I guess we didn't really do much. So let's go back. 2 problems. The camera is wrong. It just faces straight forward. And we don't have a player. I mean, we can't see the player. The player is there, but we can't see him. This is my player. It's hard to see for you there, but there's a collision there. Since I based it on stick-based character, I inherited certain stuff, right? So I inherited the collision. This is the shape of the player. You know, so all the basic stuff, and the fact that you can move and all that is already there, but we can't see it. There's also a sprite inherited, which is the thing we're supposed to see, but on the right side, it's empty. So if I just assign something, like that, I get my basic player thing. So you can see it's 2D. We have quite a build-out 2D tool set. We're still working on it. I mean, it's work in progress, but it's getting there. So for example, let me very quickly show you how it works. Obviously, you import a texture, so texture. And what you can do then is you could right-click it, and you can, for example, do extract sprites. So it will automatically extract all the sprites. So now we have this basically split up, you know, frame per frame. in our own sprite editor, which is this thing, etc. And then you would be able to select all of them, and you create a flipbook of that, and you automatically, we have this little animation editor thingy, so you automatically combine them there, you know, frame after frame, and you place it. So basically that's already been prepared, right? In this case it's a crawling one, which is weird, but hey, whatever. Then we need a camera. There is no camera here. If there is no camera, it just takes 0, 0, so it takes that point basically, so that doesn't work. So I'm going to add a camera, and I'm going to add a spring arm. Spring arm is the child of the camera is a child of the spring arm, so I dragged it on top. It's now underneath it. Let me just set some settings. No collision test, no inheriting rotation. It's 1500 off, and I think it's minus 90 rotated. Just rotating and setting the arm. This is basically the offset of the camera to the target. The target is the player, and this is how far it's offsetted and how it's rotated, right? So I've simply done that. Okay, let's play. So that kind of works. Now we have this. Can't really press anything. So I'm going to get that it hits me. I mean, my collision is higher than the crawling thing, but yeah. But yeah, I can't move. That's my next issue. I got hit by Unreal on the head. So I can't move. So let's go back there. And I can't move because I haven't set anything up. So like I said, Blueprint is our visual scripting system. We haven't seen any visual script yet. So Blueprint also has other stuff in there. It has components in there. You can attach anything you want. Meshes, sounds, particles, you know, sprites, anything you want. But beneath all of that, you have the actual visual scripting, you know, the functionality part, which is here. So what I'm going to do here is I need something that happens, an event. So I have event move right, for example, and I have to type that right. Move right, and that's another one saying jump. I should probably type it more correctly than that. On jump, so I have two events. Okay, and these are actually set up. I can show you very quickly. I've prepared this in the past. But in the project settings here it says input, and here we can see jump. Here is what I typed, and here I bound W and up and spacebar and all kinds of other stuff to that event. So it simply took that input and now it made an event in Blueprint, right? And the same goes for move right. And then I could say, okay, add movement input. So when you move right, all of this is context sensitive, by the way. So if I drag from here, the menu that I get here and the options that I get is different than if I right click there, or it's different than if I click from there, right? So you see this list is much shorter. So it's completely context sensitive, so you only get the options presented you can actually use at that given point. Good. When you press move right, we will add movement input, world direction is 1 there, and the axis value is a scale value there. Basically the axis goes from 1 to -1, depending if you press left or right. Left would be -1, 1 would be right. Okay, let's play. Okay, so now I can do that. It's perhaps not the best game still, but at least we move. And I haven't done the jump, so let me very quickly do the jump while we're at it. It's just jump. Okay. But yeah, the animation is the main problem, right? So the animation didn't update. We keep having the unfitting animation. We need different animations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second thing called animation state. There. That animation state, which I'll get back to in a second, that outputs a flipbook. So basically the animation state is selecting which kind of flipbook to use. And again, I'll show you that in a second. Let me just finish this first. Then we take the sprite in here. So the sprite is the thing we're actually looking at. So I drag this in. This represents what we look at. And on that one, I do set flipbook, because I want to change the texture. And I want to change it to the one that the other function, this is basically a function that one found. I'll play and then I'll explain a bit more what happens. So now we can see we're standing up. If I move, I get this. If I jump, I get that. Okay, so we have actual proper animations. So what just happened, this is something I prepared to speed up, but this thing, if I double click it, it's this. Okay, this is in the parent class actually. You can see this is called probably very small and it's also on the projector, but this thing where I'm now, that's the stick base character. That's the one I based the other one on. This is the parent class. The parent is another blueprint, and in that blueprint I prepared a function called animation state. This is that function. So basically it's more visual scripting, but it's like, you know, it's located somewhere else. And this basically simply checks, are you crouching, are you falling, are you jumping, what's the situation? And based on what it is, it outputs a different flipbook here. Each one of these represents a different animation. That's it. But these are some of the more advanced features I hopefully have time to get back to later on. Okay, so that works. There's one problem still. I can go there, but if I go left, I can't like do Michael Jackson moonslide something, so it doesn't really work either. So he should flip when he detects that I go left. He should flip everything around. Okay. I'm going to take the axis value because, as mentioned, the axis value becomes -1 if it's left. So based on that, I know if you're going left or right. I execute that afterwards. So I compare that one with 0. If you're above 0 or below 0, left or right again. And then I do get controller, the one controlling it. And I do set control rotation. A few steps here. Make rot. I make the rotation for it. Basically, I'm rotating the controller. I rotate it 180 degrees or back based on left or right. So if it's more than 0, it means you're going right, which is correct. So you're doing nothing. You set 0, 0, 0 for rotation. If you're going left, if it's less than 0, you will rotate 180 degrees there. And that should work. Now we have that. Okay, so that works. Then no game is complete without shooting, so I'm going to make him shoot. Okay. Okay, we have another one of these input actions called, sorry, wrong one, fire. Same one as the other ones, it's just a button bound to an event. So on fire, I want to spawn an actor. And I want to spawn it even if it collides, and this is where it spawns. So where it spawns is get actor transform. Is me. So the actor, get actor transform, everything's an actor. Every object is an actor. In this case, it gets its own actor transform. In other words, it gets the location of the player. So wherever the player is, spawn an actor. Problem is, I don't have anything to work with, right? I haven't made the projectile yet. Okay, so let's do that. So, new blueprint again. This time it's based on nothing. It's based on actor. Actor is just an empty neutral class. It just has base functionality in there and that's it. So I'll just take nothing. This was actually without spelling errors. No, actually, yeah, without spelling errors. That's cool. Good. Then we have this. It's empty. You can see the ball there, but that's just placeholder to have something. So on the left, I'm going to add a collision to it. The collision will actually, that's the actual projectile. So sphere collision. You can see that replaced the default ball there. I say it's radius 16. It should be a bit smaller. And then let's add a flipbook to it so we can actually see it because we can't see the collision. So flipbook set to that. Okay, so it's basically a 2D animation again of just some sprite thingy, glowy, whatever. It's an energy ball. And then to make it more complete, let's add a particle to it. So just particle and say that's that. This looks better when it moves. Right now it's not moving, so it's all falling in the same place, but if it moves, you get like dots flying, behind it. Cool. Well, actually, let's just, that's autosave feature. Let's just assign that to the player already. It's not going to work, but let's just take it. Let's take it from here, because it's kind of fun, even if it doesn't work. So now we have that. It's maybe not ideal for a projectile, but at least we can do this. So it doesn't know that it has to move forward. So it spawns when you click, and that's it, and then it just hangs there. Okay, but hey, we did that. Going back here, I'm going to add something called a projectile movement, and that basically gives it continuous forward momentum. So it's already built in, so I'm going to say speed is, let's say, 2500, and gravity is 0, so it always moves on a straight line forward. Fine, play. Okay, now we have that. Cool. Still, there's issues, like it doesn't really hit anything, but at least we can shoot. So next step is it has to hit something. Okay, so I'm going to do a new event here. On event hit, when you hit something, I want you to, well, basically let's do like this, destroy the actor, so destroy yourself, but before you destroy yourself, spawn a particle where you hit. So spawn a hit particle and then kill yourself, basically. Okay, so there, the location where you spawned is the location where you hit. That, and where is it? I think that one. And one more step, in the sphere, I haven't set up the collision correctly. I simply added the collision with the false settings, which doesn't work. So here I'm going to do, it should block everything except the player. So ignore only the pawn, the player. Because I don't want to hit the player because it spawns in my body, so it probably would be a bad idea. But now we have this. Okay, so getting there. So I'm almost there. But the one thing I don't have here is that these blue blocks, they're actually supposed to break. When you shoot them, they should break. And that's not happening. So that's the last step I'm going to do. And I'm going to talk about how this works on a bigger scale and then some overall things. These things are blueprints as well. You can see a lot of things are blueprints. So if I were to right click this and I do edit breakable brick, you can see here we see the brick. It's just a sprite, it has a collision, it has script attached stuff here. And in here we have a function or an event, in this case, almost the same thing for us, destroy this brick. So I want to call this, because if this gets destroyed, the brick would explode in pieces and it would disappear. So I want to make sure that this gets called when this one hits it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do other. And other is what it hits. So this is the projectile, and other is whatever the projectile hits. So if other is castable to breakable brick, to this class, if this is true, then we do, I forgot the name of the event, destroy this brick. Then we call on the event in the other blueprint, so destroy this brick. And then eventually we still kill the projectile. If it failed, it means it hit anything but a blue brick, then we simply destroy ourselves anyway, you know, as it was. Good. So now I have that, and we have cats, just to live it up a bit. But it works. Now, before I show you what happens on the right side of the screen here, I'm going to very quickly go here first, because I want to talk a bit about what happens if you do this on a bigger scale. So here, this is my personal project, by the way. I usually show this because I know what I've done myself. I mean, this is what I've been working in my free time. But it also shows you what happens when you use Unreal for obviously bigger things and 2D games with stick character shooting cat-like things. Yeah, which is the point. And now we have autosave. 1 second. And let me very quickly place the ocean is not green. Okay, so obviously Unreal is built for very big stuff. What we want to do is we want to move away from the engine being, you know, people think of the engine as being suited for Gears of War and next-gen stuff, and that's it. We want to make sure it covers everything. It should cover every genre. It should cover almost every platform. It should just be widely usable by developers, right? So we want to be able to go from this thing to this high-end stuff, and anything should work. It should scale up and down. It should work on mobile. It should work everywhere. That's really the philosophy. And if you then look at blueprints, because you might look at this and say, like, you know, especially since you're programmers, you might be like, yeah, this is really cool if you're like new to it, or if you don't know how to program, you know, it's cool a cool tool, it's fancy, but you can't make a game with that, you know, you might think that. And we really want to move away from that. This has to obviously work for new people, because I have to be able to get into the engine in an easy way, but it also has to work for AAA teams. This has to work for a team with 200-300 people, you know. And this has to speed up their work. This is also not meant to replace programmers. So that's good for you, I guess. But it's meant to empower artists and designers. It's meant to free up the time for the program so they can focus on more important stuff than, hey, dude, can you move this particle on the gun for me by 1 unit? You know, anything more important than that. It's really meant for that. It's meant so you as an artist and designer can come into the office in the morning and you're like, what would happen if the player would slow down when you walk uphill? And you can just do it without touching a line of code. And it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You probably want to move it over to C++ later, you know, or maybe you want to involve a program. But it's really good for prototyping, tweaking things, trying things. And that has really been the idea. So when you look at my game and the things I've been doing, and this gets a bit spaghetti-like, which is not Unreal's fault, it's my fault, but Even so, it actually survives the spaghetti. You can go insanely far with this. And again, I don't have a lot of time to go really deep into it, but you can go insanely far, really. There's so many layers of complexity beneath where you can use to organize your work. It's crazy. And there's C++ underneath, so in our own project, this is C++, this, well, actually not that, but this one is, etc. So you can completely easily, you can do whatever you want in C++, and then you can expose that to Blueprint, and here it continues, or any combination you want. You can do almost everything here, or you can do everything in C++. It doesn't matter, anything goes. Okay, so it's very easy to go back and forth. I'm going to run out of time, so let me very quickly go back here. And again, I have this running over there, so if you want, I can open this up later again. Yeah, but let me show you a couple of the more general features. And for that, I unfortunately need to use Unreal to get up the wall on the right. Otherwise, I can't jump over it. So you're using Unreal as a foundation to move on in life. Okay, a lot of cats. It's a bit of a walk. In the meantime, you can look at my email while we walk. Good. So I have a couple of slides here. I hope I get it done in the 5 minutes I have left. So I'll do this relatively quickly. A big thing for me in Unreal is all the sub-editors is completely, I mean, everything is there. We have everything from material editors, particle editors, animation editors, AI editors, everything, basically the whole thing. And it's all the same style. You can see all the different ones. They're all exactly the same. They're done by the same people. They work on all the platforms. They're pretty much bug-free. Small things aside, of course, it's maintained by the actual development team, so it'll work everywhere. It's documented and so on. And they all talk to each other because they're done by the same people. That's a big thing for me. We got templates, especially if you're new to the engine or you just want to mess around or prototype stuff. We got both C++ and Blueprint templates. So you simply pick, I want a third-person game, and it will generate it. It's the one button, make game button thing. Okay? It makes basic games, but at least it's very fun to just learn it. You can press it and just see how we did it. We've got a lot of example content, about 20 to 25 things we've released. A lot of it is very high-end content. And you can just look at it, and you can look how we made it. Any content in there you can use commercially as well. We don't care. Okay? Anything goes. So we have that. Then we have, we're working on a marketplace where you can buy assets and plugins. So we've got that going. All the source code is released. So it's C++ and it's all released on GitHub. So anyone can get it. You can modify it. You can send changes back to us. If we agree with it, we will possibly put it into the standard engine and so forth. You could make the entire editor purple or something, then send it to us. We'll probably not agree to put it into the standard version, but you could. Okay. And we have more. We have all of these. I'll keep it a bit short, but basically, we got the standard stuff, documentation, wikis, tutorials, YouTube, etc. We got weekly Twitch streams, support streams, and so on. We got the roadmap since half a year or more already, where you can look through it, etc. But the most fun thing, I think, is for me this one. So I'll just focus on that. These are our releases. So we've had the 4.8 release, 3 weeks or something ago now. And I'll scroll through, although I'll have to speed up at some point. But it kind of tells a picture. So I think it's ideal to tell that picture. For your information, the scroll bar is now there, still. Okay, so you're getting the point. And I'll go to page down instead. Yeah, this is page down. So this is fast speed, but still, this is one single release. Every 2 months we do this. So in 2 months, around September, we will do this again. And again, and again, and again. That's the velocity we're moving at. So, and also we're very transparent with it. We just want to communicate everything. If something is broken, we will fix it, and we will communicate exactly what has been changed, what has been fixed. Also, since you have all the source code, you can fix whatever you find yourself. You will never get stuck on development because there is a certain bug in the engine. You got everything. So we will fix that for you, but you can also fix it yourself if it's urgent or it's very specific. You can do anything you want. And let's go back here for a moment. Almost there. It runs basically on everything except Windows Phone and Nintendo. Okay? So. And We're going to give away $5 million, so there's also that. Not to one person or one company, I mean divided in small, what is it, 200,000-300,000 crowns or something, depends really on the project, but still. We have no end date set for that. You can apply whenever you want. There is no deadlines, it's just ongoing. So if you have something cool made in Unreal, send it to us. If we think it's indeed cool and it's different, or it does something we haven't done before in the engine, haven't seen before in the engine, we will give you money. That's it. There's no strings attached. You don't have to pay it back. You don't even have to finish the project. You do whatever you want. If the project fails and the money just gets lost, the money gets lost. Okay? Good. And then the last one. Do you know what it costs, by the way? Who knows what it costs? Really, only 3 people? 4? Really? Really? It's probably more. Anyway, it's free. There you go. There is 5% royalties if you make a commercial game with it. So if you make a game with it, the game goes on sale and it gets sold to the end user. There's 5% royalties on that, which we feel is fair for everything you got there. But everything else is free. So you use it in education, it's free. You use it for research, it's free. You make architectural visualizations with it, it's free. You use it for a marketing game where you get paid by Volvo, for example, to make a game that Volvo will then in turn release for free to the public. It's free. Okay? So anything is free except if it's a commercial entertainment game, basically sold by you or a publisher to the end user. That's pretty much it. So, good. I'm on a